Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Lanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're just going to do another daily review of velocity banking. And pro tip, your body remembers or your mind remembers what you study. If you just study a little bit every single day and do a daily review rather than just trying to cram everything at once, you know how a lot of people do right before a test, right? And the way that I kind of think of it is, would you rather run 1 mile for 20 days or 20 miles in 1 day before a marathon, right? Or if you're going to practice for some sort of a competition. And if you've never exercised before, the 20 miles in 1 day will actually probably, I'll say, kill you, right? Whereas the 1 mile in 20 days, or 1 mile per day for 20 days, that's going to strengthen you up, right? And that's what we got to do. We got to stop thinking that we're going to understand everything about anything we learn in simply 1 day because we're trying to cram everything in. And the worst students ever are college students because they try to cram everything in before a test. And then it's not uncommon to say, well, I don't even remember what even if I got an A on a test, I don't remember what I learned, right? So that's why I do these daily reviews. Now, what we're going to do is just a review of velocity banking. So what is velocity banking? All it is a debt payoff strategy using a line of credit as your main operating account, a line of credit, right? So, um, what is a line of credit? Well, luckily, I got an AI voice assistant to help me explain that. So let's go ahead and get Amelia to explain the AI voice assistant to explain what's a line of credit.
What is a line of credit? It is simply just a financial tool that allows you to borrow money, pay it back, and use it over and over again. A credit card is a type of line of credit. The other main types of lines of credit are personal, business, and home equity. Unlike credit cards, these types of lines of credit can be used to pay for anything, including auto loans, student loans, and mortgages.
Wow, that sounds so sophisticated when a British AI bot says it. Whereas with me, it's just more like, whenever I hear another American explain something, it just does not sound as sophisticated as a British person. I'm not gonna lie. So that's why I get the British AI voice bot. So yes, a line of credit is a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay it back, and then use it over and over again, right? And so if you have a credit card, that's a line of credit. But let's assume we have a huge home equity line of credit. I have over $284,000 in lines of credit, over 284,000. And that's because I knew the secret. I learned the secret of the banks of who they lend to, right? They lend to people who don't need money. And so many people get this confused because I know when I read your comments, it's like, well, what do you do about poor people? Look, if you're poor, you don't have to worry about this because you're not going to be lent money unless it's a student loan, right? Like, banks don't lend money to people who need it, and people just they don't want to accept that. Yet, there's statistics about how 90% of the people in this country can't even get a mortgage, right? They can't get a mortgage because banks don't lend to people who need money. And then once you understand that concept, you understand that the whole point of this credit game is to be able to manage your cash flow. The problem is that the banks kind of know that most people don't know how credit works, even if when they qualify, right? Because they look at they know that the average person looks at a credit score almost like a SAT score, and they get so excited about having a high credit score, and they'll say, okay, well, if you have the income and you got the credit, we'll lend you money. But really, all a credit score is make payments on time score, and sometimes if you pay it off too early, then they don't like that, right? Your credit score may actually go down if you pay off your debts too early because how does someone make interest on a loan if you pay off the loan too early? Makes sense. Okay, so let's just go over another velocity banking scenario. So here we're going to go over a higher income individual, but we're also going to have more debt, right? So we have this $140,000 student loan. So I'm assuming we went to some sort of professional medical law school. These are like undergrad loans. And hey, if you're gonna get a $140,000 loan, you better make it worth it. So we're just going to assume that you have that high income, $230,000 a year, which is going to be heavily taxed. So I think I looked it up. It's about 10 grand a month, right? 10 grand a month. So you're gonna, there's this thing called Parkinson's law where if your money goes up, so do your magically your expenses. So go a little bit crazy on the credit cards. We got to pay off these student loans. We got to pay off the auto loan and the mortgage. So, we can't get that $200,000 house. We got to get the 400 or $1,000 house, right? But I actually live in a new construction neighborhood, believe it or not. And I know that the property values of this neighborhood are gonna go up, even though it's somewhat like kind of isolated, because anytime you see a new commercial, like new Kroger, new supermarket, new Publix in your area, they've already done the research, and so they know the demand is going to go up. Now, why do I talk about this? It's because if you know the demand for your area is going to go up, you could get better home equity lines of credit, because you'll certainly just have more equity if the demand for your asset goes up. Hopefully that makes sense, right? But just saying that, yeah, we got debt, student loans, one, two, three, auto loan, mortgage, other. So we're living it up, and we're gonna pay off $581,000 of debt because we graduated from either a good law or medical school, and we're making good money, and we should not certainly get a $140,000 loan unless it's worth it, right? Unless we get that ROI. Okay, so um, only two things needed for velocity banking. Number one is a budget, which we've done here on this side, which is average American. And then here we need a line of credit as our main operating account. So we're going to assume that we have at least a $100,000 line available to us. I actually paid off my mortgage under 3 years, and so I should be able to get, I don't know, what's my home value. I think is worth about 400,000. So I probably can get an 80% loan to value, but we'll see once I start applying. Okay, so in this velocity banking column, we assume that the income is the same, but we're going to do the exact opposite of mainstream personal finance. So we're going to say, hey, no savings. No savings, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to copy our expenses. Our expenses will be the same initially. And then what we're going to do is just do income minus expenses. So that's going to be something called our cash flow. And you might be thinking, well, this looks exactly the same as our savings, right? This looks exactly the same as our savings. And what are you just playing word salad, wordsmithing? We're gonna increase this number by making our line of credit as our main operating account, right? Our line of credit is our main operating account. So what we're going to do is shuffle some debt, and we always start with the credit cards. So that's 15, 27. So this is $27,000 here that we're going to shuffle. And by simply shuffling this $20,000, again, we haven't paid it off yet. This is going to be 000, right? And you notice how we went from 2,000 to 3,000 pretty quickly. Like that was easy, right? 2,000 to 3,000 pretty quickly. And let's go ahead and pay off this debt using, so the actual velocity banking strategy is paycheck into the line of credit and then take out expenses from the line of credit. Okay. And so now what we do is just, after every single month, the balance is going to go down by about 3 grand. So G2 plus H2 minus 3045.11. So some formula you should memorize. So if you want to get the next month's balance, get the previous month's balance and interest minus our current cash flow. And then if we are at the next month, we get the previous month's balance. And then you just simply add 1. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the average daily balance, multiply it by the interest rate, right? You multiply it by the interest rate, which is 10% divided by 12. Okay? And then what you do is you just simply just copy and paste these formulas, and they tell you when do we pay off that credit card. It's 9 months. Oh my goodness, 9 months. All right, so let's go ahead and get that right here. So 9 months to pay off. How much was that? That was 27K. Okay, so now we got to attack these loans, right? So we have these loans available to us, and so now I have this little tab here that shows us what's going on with our loan. So the payment amount. So these are all auto-calculated. If you know the balance, the original balance, the interest rate, and the loan term, you can easily calculate the payment amount using this PMT function, right? And then the current balance with this FV function. So if you could, I took an 8-hour course on this, so I'm not going to explain in this video, but let's just kind of go here. So we got to figure out which ones do we take out. Now, normally I like to use the cash flow index system, but let me go ahead and let me think about this. What month are we at? We're at 9 months. So what we do to figure out the latest balance of all of them, you just simply put month 9, right? And so now these have all updated, and whoopsie, not 99, 9. So these have all updated, and so now we have this thing called the auto loan. So why am I focusing on the auto loan is because you'll notice in this thing here called the cash flow index, all it is like a ranking system of which debt to pay off. So for example, if I pay this 22 grand off, I get $430 of cash flow back. Whereas if I pay this 19 grand off, I only get 200, right? So I definitely don't want to pay student loan 1 and 2 first. I want to pay the auto loan first. So let's go ahead and pay this off. And so what's the current balance right now? It's 19136.93. So 19, so plus 19136.93, right? And then now, because this auto loan is paid off, right, this goes to 0. And so what is our current cash flow? And let me go ahead and zoom out. It's 3475.57. So this is going to update to 3475.57. And then now we just figure out how long it takes to pay off that auto loan, 15 months. Woohoo. Actually, you know what? I screwed up. Let me tell you how I screwed up. Okay. Um, this auto loan, actually, did I do this right? No, it should be 30,000. My bad. My bad. Okay. So after 9 months, it's 26095.81. So let me just do that. 26095.81. Okay. Yeah. So now, all right. So I think this is mostly the same. Yeah, okay. So we're going to be good. And then now we paid it off in about 18 months. See, normally I do a $22,000 car, but since, hey, we're in a professional lawyer, doctor salary or whatever it is, we got to go a little bit more fancier, maybe a Lexus or Mercedes. So that's why it's 30K loan. All right, so now let's go ahead and 18 months. So we got this all paid off, this auto loan, 18 months. And so that's 27 plus 30 is 57K. Okay. And then let's go ahead and do this. And now we just tackle on the student loans, right? So student loans. All right. So now let's take a look here. So this is, we don't have to care about this auto loan anymore. So this is at the balance of this one is gone. And so what we want to do is to say that, hey, it's been paid off, right? You just have to multiply this by 12. So it equals 5 times 12. And then the balance will be 0 because it's the last month of the loan payment, right? So that one's paid off. Now what we can do here is look at these cash flow indexes. And again, these are month 18 now. So 18, 18, 18, 18, right? And as you can see, this one has the next lowest cash flow index. Oh, let me just take a look at right here. I probably should put current right here and original right here, make it easier to read. But this one has the next lowest cash flow index. So, but the thing is that you could actually argue, let's pay this off first because it's easier to pay off first because the amount is so much more less than the 140,000. right? So so normally I say, hey, use this as a ranking system to pay off your loans, but if this is a lot easier for you to pay off, let's say with moving into your line of credit, and then get that cash flow back for a couple $100, then we could attack this one. So you can make an argument for that. Although, if you just focus on this one, uh, I think you'll probably save more interest. But let's just make it easy on ourselves. So we'll move these off. And so now this is 18 months, I think. Yeah, 18 months. So let's go ahead and move these balances, and I'm going to copy and paste them and paste the values themselves, right? Okay. So let's go ahead and sum these up. So we'll say 20, okay, so 29,799.16. So this is going to happen 0, 0, and then 29,799.16. And our cash flow is 3826.11. So 3826. Wait, did my cash flow go up that much, or did I screw up? Oh, I'm just screwing up majorly today. 3457. Oh, yeah, I totally majorly screwed up. My bad. Well, it's the same payoff. Okay. All right. So now, all right. So 3457. See, I need practice too. All right. So now, let's do this. Okay. And then what is our cash flow right now? It's 3826.11. So 3826.11. And then, now let's go ahead and do that. So now, the next payoff happens in month 26, right? So month 26, we paid off, so that'll be 57 plus 15 plus 19, 26K. So 26 months, oopsie. So 57 plus 15 plus 19, 91K. All right. So 91K paid off, 91K paid off, and now we have this $140,000 loan. So let's go ahead and do this. So if we want to pay it off, now it's 120, right? And then this is now month 26, 26, 26. That's the current balance of the loan. And so now we should focus off on paying this student loan, and we can certainly do it by using what we call the chunking method. So let's take a look at our current cash flow right now, 3,826. So what we do is when we have these huge amortized loans like a student or auto loans, or student or mortgages, we just use the Velocity Banking calculator. And I always like to use a chunk amount of just the amount that you get paid. But what's even more important is the order of the debt payoff, right? The debt payoff order. So let's go ahead and open up that Velocity Banking calculator. Give me one moment. Okay, so here we are with the Velocity Banking calculator. This is provided by Renata. So if you decide to enroll as a Renata student, which is where I originally learned Velocity Banking Income, you get this calculator for free. If you register, nobody's just going to give it to you, but so many people are like, gimme, 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 gimme. And I'm like, if you register, you can get it. But all right, so now just put it in. So let's just kind of do this. So what's our current original balance? Take a look here. I'm going to switch tabs, at least on my end. You might not be able to see it. 140,000, right? And then the current balance is 116,651, 116,651.85. Okay. So 116,601.85, and interest rate is 6.3%, and then it's 10 years. So now, what is the payment amount? The payment amount is 1575.46. 1575.46. Okay. And then we'll just say $10,000 chunk amount, and then we'll just put our monthly income, which is, what's our monthly income? I don't even know. No, it's $10,000. So let me just kind of go here, and then 10,000, and then our monthly expenses are, what are our monthly expenses? Everything except for the loan we're trying to pay off. So the mortgage and the other, that's 4598.43. 4598.43. 4598.43. Okay. All right, so that gets paid off. Whoa, 2 years. Take a look at that. I must be insane. That's pretty quick. Okay, well, I'll go for it. Let's do it. So 2 years. So let me go ahead and switch tabs back. All right, so let's go ahead and switch that back. And then now, so that's an additional, so 26 plus 24, so that's 50 months, right? So 50 months to pay off, so 231K. All right. So now we pay, okay, so now 50 months, and then now we got to focus on the mortgage, so this goes to 0, and I have a feeling that this is going to go by really quick, right? Look at all this cash flow. So let's go back here and then take a look at 51 months, what the balance is. So 51, 329,816.19. Okay, so now I just got to put in that velocity banking calculator. So it's 350,000 at 6%. So let's go ahead and switch it up. Yes. So 350,000 at 6% for 30 years. Okay. And what is the current balance right now? It is 329,816.19. Right? And then the payment amount is 2098.43. 2098.43. Okay, and then so let's just, we have to reduce this because one of our loans were paid off. So let me go back here. So it should only be 2,500 because that's our general expenses. So 2500. And then bam, our mortgage gets paid off in 4.2 years. That's amazing, right? Take a look at that. So 4.2 years, amazing. So now let me go back here. Let me go back to this sheet, and then we'll have paid it off in, so that's 50 plus 12 times 4.2. Whoops. Okay, so that's 100 months. Actually, I need to probably do this. So I need to divide by 12 on the first one and then take out the other 12. So 8.3 years, and we're debt free for 581K, right? So this is what I call velocity banking, professional class edition, right? You make good money, but there are plenty of people who are doctors and lawyers who don't know how to manage their finances, even though they make good salaries. And now you might say, why is that? Because they just learned stuff at school that had nothing to do with any of this, right? So, if I go to school to learn how to be a musician, there's the business aspect of, or financial aspect of being a musician that a lot of people ignore, which is why when you go to cities like LA, or I don't know, what's another musician city, Austin, Texas, a lot of them are broke, right? A lot of actors too are broke. Only in many industries, only the very, very, very top people make a lot of money, and that's because they're a little bit more savvy. They know a little bit of negotiations, or even if they can't make that much good money, maybe they do something called like geographic arbitrage. So you get paid one place, and then you use your money in another place, like a tech job in Silicon Valley, and then you decide to move to Arkansas or West Virginia. A lot of ways to kind of make your money stretch further, but you know, if you're just a professional working class person, all I'm saying is that a lot of times they don't teach you the financial aspect or business aspect of how do you manage your finances so your dollar does stretch further. Okay, well, this is it for today, our Velocity Banking Daily Review, morning ritual, if you want to say that, if you want to think about this as a Velocity Banking cult. I love mentioning that just because I think it's very funny. But other than that, it's Karina Lanta Mentorship. Have a great day, and we will speak next time.